So, not sure if this will be a post or not, but I felt like I needed to record this. Probably for myself, but I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Sunday morning. I am currently doing just 30 minutes of fasted cardio this morning. So I just started. I had to do a check-in this morning, and it didn't quite go the way I thought. I've been really pushing this week, like really pushing, especially with the fatigue and the depletion. I've been pushing, like, and the crazy thing is, and I say this like only me and God know, like I've been grinding, and I just yesterday, posted a video from my cardio, mixing it up how much I did and really pushing and why I'm pushing so hard. So needless to say, I went to bed proud of myself. I was happy with how hard I was pushing and how much I was digging down deep, and was excited actually about doing my check-in. I weighed myself and the scale has not moved in a week. I'm literally same weight. And the great thing is I've been there before, so I didn't really worry about it. Remember the last time I went down a rabbit hole, and this time I was like, don't do that. You still gotta take your pictures, and just because your weight hasn't moved doesn't necessarily mean that you're not in a good space. Took my pictures. I didn't quite look at them. I looked at them enough to crop them and send them to my coach. And I'm like, okay, it looks like there's some things happening. Nothing drastic. And my coach is it don't take him but a minute, so it didn't take but a few minutes to get a return reply back, and definitely wasn't the response that I expected. I almost broke down in tears. He recommended, we're trying to figure some things out, but we're going to take a rest day today. So that's the reason why I should just say a quick 30-minute fasted cardio day, keeping everything the same. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I thought because I had worked so hard and was grinding and pushing past the fatigue and the depletion, I swore, y'all, that I was going to not only get a rest day, but I was going to get a refeed day as well, because I'm hungry. And that didn't happen. It was, let's figure some stuff out. Let's take a rest day first, keep everything else the same. So no added, no takeaways, which is good on my nutrition right now. But still, figure some things out. So before I busted out in tears, I, replied back just to ask, like, where we're at. And it seems as we're kind of at a standstill, a little bit. So, there's a lot of things that are different for me, versus 8 years ago. I'm older. I'm over the age of 40. I mean, that says a lot just within itself. Within 8 years, how my body has changed, and as a woman, things are different. You know, I made the decision not to be doing all the crazy stuff. So it's you know, I was willing to put in the work, the extra work necessary, you know, to kind of balance off not doing crazy stuff. And I won't say, you know, I don't want to, let me make sure I say this with respect, actually. It's not crazy stuff. I just, you know, I've always been, and I actually want to say this, like, because I've been an athlete and I'm just conscious of a lot of different things, you know, I've always been a person that's been concerned about my body in some type of way. So that's why I never did drugs. You know, I smoked some weed, y'all, okay? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, outside of that, you know, I was always kind of afraid of it to a certain extent, you know, because I just didn't want to mess up the body that I had, or, you know, because for me it was all about performance, but you know, it wasn't about enhancing my performance. It was more about, you know, not, you know, messing up my performance. So I just wasn't into anything considered to be drugs, I guess. And, you know, it even makes it difficult at, you know, going into this sport where, you know, that's a topic of conversation once you get to the national level. You know, there's the soft drugs, you know, but then there's the hard ones. And, you know, I chose to stay away from anything hard because it was, for me, you know, I'll be honest, like, scared. Be completely honest with you, like, scared. You know, at one point I wanted to have kids, so I didn't want to, you know, 8 years ago, that was one of my biggest reasons. I still, in my mind, thought that one day I would probably carry. So I just didn't want to, it wasn't worth it for me. So, you know, fast forward, you know, to even this moment, being at the age I am, you know, I still am I'm more conscious about my health mentally and physically, that, you know, it's not just about being the greatest athlete, but now just having a long life, you know what I'm saying? So, and all the ish that's out here, you know, we just not talking about drugs, we talking about the food and all that, you know. You know, I go organic, I don't eat out of plastic, like, I'm already conscious of all of that. So, you know, let alone, you know, choosing whether I'm going to do some hard drugs, and I just chose not to. So that meant that I had to put in extra work. That's where the extra cardio was coming in, and, you know, the intense, I guess, diet on both ends, to gain the weight, and now to get the weight off. So, you know, having these conversations with myself, like, how much more can I put in to even be at the level to even be at a point where I can compete on the level that I want to compete on is a question, you know. But, you know, right now with being 4 weeks out, you know, again, my mind is going in so many different directions. And, you know, I'm actually proud of myself for how I'm handling it emotionally. Because as much as I wanted to cry, I literally just sat there and put my shirt on and my pants, put my shoes on, and came downstairs to get my cardio in. And start checking the boxes for the rest of the day. And, before I got on the treadmill, I just prayed. I told God, at the end of the day, there's only so much that I have control over. And I'm going to take today to evaluate anything that I could possibly do better in my training, in my eating, in my rest, in my recovery, in my water. All of those areas, what do I have the ability to control? And again, this is the hard part. My body is not 30 anymore, So that's also mentally reminding myself, as much as I look 30, I'm 44 years old. A grown woman with grown women problems. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So, coming to grips with that and understanding that, and I've been doing a lot of reading lately and listening and podcasts and, to better understand my body, the changes, how it's going to change, all of the above. And all I keep saying is 4 weeks out, we were going so great, but I just stopped and it's okay, right now, the only thing you have control over is what you can't control. And right now, that's what I need to focus on. I'm not going to self-sabotage by getting all of my feelings or throwing off my cortisol levels by getting all emotional. That ain't going to help nothing. So, having this conversation with myself to remind myself, you've done a great job to this point. The only thing you have control over right now is what you know. So let's start there. And then as we move on in these next 4 weeks, allow your coach to be your coach. And then allow God to be God. The one thing I say is me and God have rocked it out. I'm thankful because over the last 2 years, God has truly put me in a space that right now, I'm not emotionally, reacting and going off the rails and sitting and pouting in a corner somewhere. I'm literally saying, let me see what I have the ability to control. Sorry for the spit. And give the rest up to him. And at this point, my coach. So I'm at that place today. I'm gonna take the time to rest. But it's hard, y'all. And I say this because I know that some of you all, again, you'll watch somebody like me, pushing, but we go through these same things of not. We'll go through these things of, I did everything I was supposed to do this week. I pushed past when I didn't want to do it. I dug deep. I showed up. I grinded out. I burned the cows. I ate my food. And when it's time to check in, it don't look the way you thought it was supposed to look. And a lot of times, y'all seen it. We beat ourselves up. And it's don't do that. And that's why I keep telling myself the same thing I would tell you. You just keep chucking it. You just keep chucking it. And that's what, this is me talking to myself. Kiwi, you didn't come this far to only come this far. And this ain't the end. It's just a little fork in the road for us to figure out which way we need to go so that we still continue to get to the goals. But here's the thing, y'all. When you get to the fork in the road, do you stop, sit down, and start boo-hooing? Because now you like, well, I thought it was gonna be a straight shot, but it's not. You know, it's a few curves. It's now, you know, you thought you saw the light, but now you don't see the light anymore. It's still a road forward, but a lot of y'all will stop and just sit down and start crying and being in your feelings. And a lot of y'all will get to that point and be like, damn, I didn't got all the way here. And it don't look, it ain't beautiful, it ain't, you know, it's still more road to go. Like the road is still up, like it's still a road, and it's two. But they're going forward. And a lot of y'all will turn and go back. For me, I look at it as, okay, I'm right here. There's a decision to be made on this little fork, you know, whether it's whether I'm going right or left, or if I'm just going forward. And to be honest with you, in this case, you know, just for vision purposes, you know, there's not necessarily a decision to be made other than keep moving. Like, I'm not about to sit and waste time crying. I'm not about to sit and waste time trying to evaluate and break down why it don't look the way I think it should look at this point, or like, I don't have time for that. Because to me, the answers are still forward regardless. Like, and as you can see, like, I'm still moving forward. It's no backwards for me. There's no stopping for me. It's like, okay. And even if I am gonna cry, I'm not saying that I won't, y'all. I'm like, I've been fighting it. But if I'm gonna cry, I'm crying on the road forward. Period. Definitely not going backwards. I'm definitely not stopping. For why? I'm definitely not about to sit here and feed myself and self-sabotage all the work I put in for the 20 plus weeks. Heck no. So the things I can't control is to keep it moving and allow myself, as I'm walking, to evaluate, okay, what more can I do? Because I actually wrote in my journal, y'all, I write 3 things of who I am, and they're not all the same. I literally wrote down, I am willing to do what it takes to become the person I am becoming. I wrote that down last night. And for me, what I love about God sometimes is he says, let me see if you really mean what you say. If that's like, to me, that was him checking me to say, is that who you are? Do you truly believe that? Or is that truly who you are? It's like somebody saying, are you really Kiana? Like, when they check your ID 3 or 4 times before you get on the plane, it says it right here, but I gotta see your picture, I gotta scan your thumbs. You gotta do all of that to make sure you say you are who you say you are. And for me, that's all it was. It's like God said, you said last night, you willing to do whatever it's gonna take for you to become who you are becoming. So to me, this wasn't nothing but a checkpoint for him just to make sure, are you who you say you are? And I'm at that checkpoint like, yep, sure am. Sure am. Next checkpoint. That's it. And we gonna keep it moving. So I needed to talk to myself. This is me. This is what I do when I have moments that I have to get myself out of the place of, or I just need to motivate myself. This is my motivational talk. Y'all just heard it. This is me telling me, keep it moving. Now while we walking, we got a plan, we got a strategy, okay? Let's look at what we're able to control. I prayed first. I went to God. I said, God, whatever I can't control, I gotta give it to you. My coach has his assignment. He gotta figure it out. And me, I was told to go walk and do my cardio and keep the day the same as usual. Rest, and that's the game plan. And I'm about to run the play. So, reminding myself that again, I didn't come this far to stop. I didn't come this far to sabotage. I didn't come this far to turn back around. I came this far to continue on the journey till I get what's mine, till I become who I'm becoming, and even see what God has in store for me. Because if I stop, if I turn around, and if I sabotage, I'll get none of those things. And I look at it as all I need is one of those things for me to say that all of this is worth it, for me to keep pushing, to keep driving forward. So I didn't talk my way into a great day. To me, that's a huge win. I'm proud of myself. And this is at the point where I say it, I tell myself, I'm proud of you, QB. I see your growth. I see your maturity. I see your emotional intelligence. I see your grind. I see your push. I see your willingness. I see your heart. I see how bad you want it. I see your trust. I see your faith. You're gonna be just fine. So let's rock out the rest of the day. Do what we said we was gonna do. And what I've been telling myself every single day, one day at a time. One day at a time. One rep at a time. One stride at a time. One day